The phone screen is cracked. It lies on the dusty floor, still recording. A girl's face fills the frame, her eyes wide with a terror that feels too real for any movie. Her name is Chloe. She's breathing hard, her chest heaving in short, panicked gasps. You can hear her ragged breaths. Tears stream down her face, mixing with the dirt and grime smudged on her cheeks. Behind her, a long, dark hallway stretches into nothingness. The only light comes from the phone's dim screen, casting long, dancing shadows that seem to have a life of their own. She's trying to say something, but the words are caught in her throat, choked by fear.
We shouldn't have come here. We shouldn't have come here, she finally whispers, her voice trembling. He's not letting us leave. He's not letting us leave.
The camera shakes violently as a loud bang echoes from somewhere deep within the building. It sounds like a heavy door slamming shut, but it's more than that. It's a sound filled with anger, with finality. Chloe flinches, her eyes darting towards the source of the noise. She pulls her knees up to her chest, trying to make herself smaller, to disappear into the shadows. The live stream chat is a blur of comments, panicked questions, emojis, but Chloe isn't looking at them. Her focus is fixed on the darkness. Suddenly, a shape moves at the far end of the hall. It's just a flicker at first, a distortion in the air, but then it solidifies. It's tall and impossibly thin, a silhouette that seems to absorb the little light around it. It doesn't walk, it glides, moving with an unnatural smoothness that makes the hair on your arms stand up. Chloe lets out a small, strangled sob.
Oh no, no, no. Oh no, 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 she mutters, her voice barely audible.
She scrambles backward, pushing herself away from the approaching figure, but she's trapped. Her back hits a wall. There's nowhere else to go. The chat on her live stream goes wild. People are typing in all caps. The figure stops about 20 feet away. It just stands there, watching her. No face is visible, just a deep, dark void where a head should be. The silence that follows is deafening, heavier than any sound. Chloe's breathing hitched. She holds her phone up like a shield, as if the small device could protect her. Then the phone's battery icon flashes red. It's about to die.
Please, please, she begs, though it's unclear who she's pleading with.
The figure? The viewers? God? The screen flickers once, twice, and then the live stream cuts out. The connection is lost. The last thing anyone sees is Chloe's terrified face before the screen goes black, leaving thousands of viewers staring into a digital abyss, wondering what just happened. Just 12 hours earlier, the mood was completely different. 4 friends were packed into an old SUV, driving down a forgotten highway. There was Liam, the confident leader of the group, always looking for the next thrill. He was the one who came up with this crazy idea. Next to him sat Maya, the skeptic. She was a journalism student, armed with a camera and a notebook, determined to debunk the local legends. She believed there was a logical explanation for everything, and she was here to find it. Maya was convinced the stories were just ghost tales made up by locals to scare tourists. In the back seat, Chloe, the group's social media influencer, was already live streaming their adventure to her followers. She was all smiles and nervous energy, promising her audience the ghost hunt of a lifetime. She had her vlogging gear ready, hoping to capture something that would go viral. Beside her was Ben, the quiet historian of the group. He was the one who had done all the research on the Peace Village Hotel. He was more interested in the building's past than any potential ghosts, but a deep sense of unease had been growing in him the whole drive. The plan was simple, or so it seemed. They would spend one night inside the infamous Peace Village Hotel. The place had been abandoned for over 50 years, and it was famous for its ghost sightings and paranormal encounters. Local legend said that no one had ever managed to last a full night inside. Liam had made a bet with some guys from his college. If they could stay from dusk until dawn and live stream the proof, they'd win $5,000. For Liam, it was about the money and the bragging rights. For Maya, it was a story. For Chloe, it was content. For Ben, it was a chance to touch history, however dark. As they drove, Ben read aloud from one of the old newspaper clippings he had found.
Multiple tragedies have plagued the hotel since its construction, he read, his voice low. Guests disappearing without a trace, staff members driven to madness, a series of unexplained fires.
He told them about the original owner, a man named Silas Croft, who was said to have practiced dark rituals in the hotel's basement. The legend claimed his spirit still roamed the halls, a malevolent warden guarding his property.
Sounds like the perfect place for a party.
They arrived as the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and blood red. The Peace Village Hotel stood on a lonely hill, a skeletal silhouette against the dying light. It was even more imposing in person than in the photos. The irony was not lost on them. Liam used a crowbar to pry open the boarded-up front doors, the screech of rusty nails echoing in the twilight silence. A wave of musty air, thick with the smell of decay, rot, and something else, something metallic and unpleasant, washed over them. The lobby was a scene of frozen chaos. It was as if everyone had left in a sudden, violent hurry, and time had simply stopped. Ben shined his flashlight on the reception desk. An old guest book was still lying open, its pages yellowed and brittle. The last entry was dated October 31st, 1972. The handwriting was shaky, almost illegible. "He won't let us leave," it read. "He sees us. He's always watching." Ben felt a cold shiver run down his spine. It was the same phrase Chloe would later whisper into her phone. He quickly shut the book. Maya took a picture, her journalistic curiosity overriding her skepticism for a moment.
All right, team. Welcome to our 5-star accommodation for the night. Let's split up and explore before it gets completely dark. Chloe, you and I will take the upper floors. Ben, you and Maya can check out the ground floor. Stay in touch. And remember, don't get spooked.
But as they separated, each pair heading into the deepening gloom of the hotel, an unspoken dread began to settle over them. The hotel was watching, and the night had only just begun. Narrator, V.O. Ben and Maya started their exploration on the ground floor. The air was heavy and still. Maya led the way, camera ready.
Ben, whispering, "Did you hear that?" Narrator, V.O. Ben didn't answer. He was listening. A faint scuffing from the floor above.
Maya, uncertain. "I don't hear anything, Ben. It's probably just the building settling." Narrator, V.O. Ben shook his head. He knew what he heard. Footsteps pacing back and forth above. Methodical, rhythmic, deeply unsettling.
Ben, insistent. "They're right above us." Narrator, V.O. The footsteps stopped. The sudden absolute silence was worse.
Liam, booming. And here we have the deluxe suite. Slightly used condition, but with a great view of eternal damnation.
Chloe, did you feel that? It's freezing right here. Liam, yeah, that's weird. The window's boarded up tight. Chloe, whispering. Liam, be quiet for a second. Listen.
Narrator, V.O. The whispering was there. It was undeniable. A chorus of faint, overlapping voices murmured on the edge of hearing. Narrator, V.O. Down on the ground floor, Ben and Maya had reached the grand ballroom, illuminating a scene of faded grandeur. Narrator, V.O. In the very center of the room, a set of footprints could be seen, as if someone had walked to the center of the floor and vanished into thin air.
Ben, the prints were from a man's dress shoes, an old-fashioned style. Maya, teeth chattering. Ben, it's freezing. Narrator, V.O. A profound sadness washed over him, deep, inconsolable, not his own. He felt like he stood where something terrible had happened. Ben, voice strained. Maya, we need to get out of this room. Now. Narrator, V.O. A profound sadness washed over him, deep, inconsolable, not his own. He felt like he stood where something terrible had happened.
Upstairs, Liam and Chloe had stumbled upon a different wing of the hotel. They had found the children's wing. The first room they entered was a nursery. In the center, a single wooden rocking horse sat motionless. As they were about to leave, a faint sound made them freeze, the soft, melodic tune of a music box. The melody began to slow down, warped into a discordant, grating noise, then stopped. Suddenly, the rocking horse in the nursery next door began to move, as if a child had pushed it. It rocked faster and more violently, runners thudding against the floor with an angry rhythm. This was a clear, impossible event happening right in front of them.
Liam, I want to go. Liam, Chloe whispered, her voice trembling. I want to go.
Shaken by their experience in the ballroom, Ben and Maya decided to check the ground floor guest rooms. In the grimy surface of the mirror, standing behind her and Ben, was a figure.
I saw someone, in the mirror, a woman. She was right behind us.
Unlike the rest of the hotel, the kitchen was strangely clean. It was an unsettling display of order in a place defined by chaos and neglect. A thick, dark liquid had pooled on the floor beneath it. It looked like old, dried blood. The freezer was empty except for a series of deep scratch marks that covered the inside of the door. They looked like they had been made by fingernails.
Liam, Chloe, do you copy? More static, then a faint, distorted voice. Not Liam or Chloe, a woman crying softly.
Another one follows, forming a stuttering path of light toward the lobby. It feels like something lighting the path, guiding them forward. They step through. All corridor lights snap off at once into absolute darkness.
Silas Croft, the original owner, was a collector of rare books. He spent most of his time in there. Maybe we can find something, an explanation.
Croft hadn't just been a collector. He had been a student of the dark arts.
The veil is thin here. The rituals have worked too well. I invited them in, but I cannot control them. They whisper from the walls. They are hungry.
The final entry was dated October 31st, 1972. It was a single, chilling sentence.
What the hell? That's it, I'm done. I don't care about the bet, Liam. I want to leave. Right now.
Look, on the second floor balcony, a figure, solid and physical, not a trick.
It's stuck. The door was sealed shut. A new, more potent wave of fear washed over them. They were locked in.
The windows!
Is anyone out there? Hello?
You have my attention. You came to my house. You woke my guests. Now, you will be a part of the collection.
We can't just stay here and wait for it. We have to split up and search. No, that's the worst thing we could do. It wants us to separate.
The moment they separated, the hotel's atmosphere shifted. The entity was done playing. Slow dread became a full-blown assault. Liam started pulling on the locker doors, desperate. It was empty, except for a single, faded photograph.
This is my fault. The bet was a lie. There's no $5,000. I made it all up. I just wanted the views.
The ticking grew louder and faster, the steady rhythm accelerating into a frantic, panicked beat. On the 12th and final chime, the clock fell silent. A long, terrified scream that they recognized instantly. It was Chloe.
Maya, trembling. Ben! That door. Was that there before? Ben, whispering. No, that's impossible.
Liam, OS. Help us. Let us out. It's in here with us. Liam, OS. The key, Ben, the journal. He said the key is in the journal. Find the... Sound of a wet crunch. A short scream.
Narrator, VO. It wasn't about a physical key. It was a ritual, an invitation.
Silas Croft, VO. She had such spirit, and he had such fight. They make fine additions to the collection. Now, it is your turn.
Narrator, VO. The room was full of translucent couples, waltzing, prisoners, repeating the dance for eternity. Narrator, VO. The entity that wore Silas Croft's memory had claimed them, and now it had come for the final two. Narrator, VO. They were in the service tunnels now, deep in the guts of the hotel, a sinister song guiding them deeper. Narrator, VO. This was the entrance to the basement, the heart of the hotel's darkness. Narrator, VO. To open the door, they needed to make an offering, a blood sacrifice. Narrator, VO. This was the engine room of the hotel's haunting. This was where Silas Croft had opened the door. Narrator, VO. The tall, thin figure of the entity formed before them, solid and terrifyingly present.
Entity VO. You sought an exit. This is it. The only exit. The one that leads into me.
The flash erupted like a lightning strike. The entity recoiled with a deafening, multi-tone shriek.
Maybe there's a way to close it. The memories of the house began to play out around them, a psychic echo that assaulted their senses.
The house was showing them their own fate, trying to overwhelm them with fear and despair.
My house? The ghost passed through the shadowy monster. His defiance made the entity recoil for a vital second.
With a desperate scream, he shouted the last word. A blinding, silent white explosion erupted. The hotel had collapsed in on itself, pulled into the void that it had created when the portal was sealed. They were the souls, finally free. They flickered once, as if in farewell, and then they too were gone, at peace at last. They had walked into the mouth of hell and somehow had walked back out. But they knew with a chilling certainty that the ghosts they carried inside them would walk with them forever. They decided on a lie, a plausible, tragic story that would cover the terrible truth. They would say there had been an accident. They told their lie again and again. Each time they told it, a piece of them died inside. The truth was their burden to carry alone. But the haunting didn't end when the hotel collapsed. It had simply changed its form. For Maya, the haunting was visual. For Ben, the haunting was intellectual. He was becoming the librarian Croft had wanted him to be. The hotel had left a message for her, a message that only appeared after the fact.
It's a key, and it belongs in a lockbox.
It was a compulsion, a need to see the place one last time. It was just a hill. It didn't feel evil, only sad, a forgotten toy from a house of sorrows. The hotel was gone, its malevolent master banished, its captive souls set free. But a final chilling question remained. How many other doors were out there, waiting for the right key?